Now it's game day. We hear from bars and businesses near Camp Randall as the Badgers start a lengthy homestand. And a group of bikers return to Beaver Dam today 110 days and nearly 15,000 miles later. Plus, the missing link is completed. One local bike path now connects to the isthmus.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 10. I'm Amanda Quintana. The Wisconsin football team opened its home slate with a 61-0 win over Central Michigan today. Jay Wilson has more from Camp Randall.
The Badgers came in as 35-point favorites over Central Michigan, and they covered the spread by halftime. 61-0, the Badgers' second straight shutout. Let's start with the defense. They were spectacular again. They held Central Michigan to 3 first downs and just 58 total yards in the game. And offensively, Jack Cohn threw for 363 yards and threw 2 touchdown passes to Quintez Cephas, making a triumphant return in his home opener this season at Camp Randall Stadium. And oh, by the way, Jonathan Taylor, 102 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns, and another touchdown receiving. Badgers have outscored their opponents 110-0 in their first 2 games. We'll hear from them coming up later in sports. At Camp Randall Stadium, Jay Wilson, News 3 Now Sports.
Thank you, Jay. And while fans have had today marked on their calendar for quite some time, so have downtown businesses and bars. Adam Duxter explains how this year's home schedule presents them a unique opportunity.
Today's home opener will bring tens of thousands of fans to Camp Randall, and even more than that to downtown Madison bars and businesses, who say they've had this string of home games on their mind since the schedule was released months ago.
Prior to today's kickoff, more than 1,300 crowding Madison's Scotty Bar on Regent Street.
We got our outdoor beer garden here, holds over 1,000 people. We do that special just for our 7 home games.
General Manager Lucas Simon Wambach says those 7 games are a chance to get hungry and thirsty people spending their money here.
So this is really a big time for us, and we look to plan ahead. So on the day of the game, we're all ready and ready for anything.
6 months ahead, to be exact. But Scotty Bar isn't the only downtown business trying to prepare. Down Monroe Street, Orange Tree Imports is celebrating their first football season with a brand new road.
We're so happy that it's finished. The street looks beautiful, and our customers have really come rushing back. People are very loyal to the Badgers, and they love their red and white, so we have lots of products that they can either give as gifts or decorate their own home with.
But both Orange Tree Imports and Scotty Bar say there's something unique about this season. 5 of the 7 home games in the first 6 weeks of the year, which means more sunny, warm home games, just like today.
It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're happy that it's kind of front-loaded here, where we can get some good weather, get people drinking and having fun outside.
Good weather, outside, football. The well-orchestrated celebration, half a year in the making.
Well, next week is a Badgers bye week, which means no home game fans. But these businesses are still hoping other events like the Monroe Street Festival will fill the void until September 21st. In Madison, Adam Duxter, News 3 Now.
The Badgers have a bye week next week and will take on the University of Michigan the next week. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff. UWPD says they handed out 22 citations at today's game, 21 of which were issued to UW students. 19 of those were for underage drinking, while 3 citations were also issued for possession of false identification. 19 UW students were arrested at the Badgers' win. Today's game was also the first for new UW band director, Dr. Corey Pompey. Mike LaCrone was the director of the marching band from 1969 until his retirement early this year. Pompey has an extensive background working with marching bands around the country. He served as an assistant instructor at the University of Texas and taught in Alabama for several years. Earlier this week, Pompey told News 3 Now he plans to, quote, create a sense of community, a sense of family within the band. Let's turn it over to Dave Caulfield with your first alert forecast. Dave, it was a good day for football.
Yeah, it was really nice football weather, Amanda. As promised, it was dry at Camp Randall. On Doppler track, we are noticing the rain off to either the northwest or just to the south. And I don't think we'll be impacted by much in the way of shower activity until we get to tomorrow morning and really into the afternoon. Maybe a couple light showers making their way into Grant County right now. Not going to affect too many of us. Temperatures have dipped into the upper 50s in Madison, 60 in Monroe, 62 in Prairie du Chien and Boscobel. Madison on the Edgewater Skycam looking at cloudy skies. Day planner as we head into the overnight hours. Temperatures dipping into the mid 50s with cloudy skies. Could have a few showers as we get into tomorrow afternoon with highs only in the mid to upper 60s. So those clouds really keeping us cool tomorrow, but we won't be cool for very long. We'll talk about a big warm up on the way for the middle of next week in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. More local news now. A man is in jail after police say he threatened a woman with a gun while driving yesterday. According to Chief Koval's blog, a 31-year-old woman told police she was driving around Maple Grove Drive and McKee Roads just before 4 o'clock. That's when a 19-year-old man in a car in front of her revealed a handgun, quote, in a threatening and confrontational manner toward her. She remembered his license plate and pulled over while the man drove away. Police later found the car and the man, and he was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct while armed, obstructing an officer, and underage possession and consumption of alcohol. A silver alert was issued tonight for a missing Madison man. He left home to deposit yard waste, but then called his wife saying he was lost. 77-year-old Donald Miller was in a black 2013 Ford Escape with a military license plate. It was last seen driving on I-94 west of Menominee at about 7:40. He is 6'2", wearing a tan shirt with a car or a Harley-Davidson logo on it, blue jeans with holes in them, and New Balance shoes. He's believed to be in northwestern Wisconsin, but has no connections there or reason to be there. If you know anything about where he might be, call Madison Police. The 10th annual Nation of Patriots tour returned home to Beaver Dam today after a motorcycle ride across the country. An American flag travels with the riders through all 48 continental United States before getting retired in Beaver Dam. The ride is a fundraiser to support disabled veterans. It's also an opportunity for those who ride to show support for the men and women who serve our country. Founder and executive director Bill Scherer says he created the ride because he wanted to give back.
It struck a chord with me that I could sit in my comfy little job in my comfy little apartment having a good old time while there's these men and women that are actually fighting overseas, dying and coming home just banged up and not able to pay their bills. And here I am as an American not doing anything about it.
The Nation of Patriots gives back to veterans all year round. Member Brad Weber says they raised close to $1 million before they started this ride, so he's expecting to have crossed that threshold this year. After 12 years of work, the village of Shorewood Hills has a new bike trail. This morning, the village cut a ribbon on its new path, which connects the Blackhawk Path from Middleton to the campus commuter path and then on to the Isthmus. Village officials call the project the missing link since it's connecting a portion of the east-west path.
We worked with the developers one by one, and we just worked with them to incorporate this little stretch of land here. But it was a laborious process. We had to work parcel by parcel by parcel. But we did, and now it's complete, and now we have this wonderful new multi-path bikeway that's already been very popular.
Officials also emphasize safety for drivers, pedestrians, and bikers for 2 new crossings created on the path. Preparing our little future Ironman triathletes, hundreds of kids competed in a series of races around the Capitol Square today, leading up to the annual Wisconsin Ironman tomorrow. They ran toward the finish line for the Iron Kids Fun Run. This year, Iron Kids added new races like the Diaper Dot Dash so that even babies could participate. The Ironman race tomorrow starts at 6:40 in the morning. Racers begin the triathlon with a 2.4-mile swim, starting at Monona Terrace and finish there after a bike race and marathon. Around the state, officials at the Racine County Jail are using a high-tech tool to improve safety and prevent contraband trade. The device can pick up just about anything, showing a clear contrast between human tissue and everything else they might be trying to sneak in. A drug overdose at the jail prompted them to get 2 of these scanners. The sheriff says the device is a life-saving deterrent, so people don't try to bring in anything that they could harm themselves with or others with.
Just recently, our scanner picked up on an individual came into our facility and they had a Altoid breath mint container hidden in a lower personal area. And inside that container was, we found crack cocaine.
Each device costs $118,000, but the sheriff says none of it came from taxpayers. Coming up on News 3 Now at 10, a festival in DeForest is hoping to get more people thinking about the world around them. Stay with us. Welcome back. New Hampshire is the center of the universe today for Democratic presidential candidates. They're on hand for the state's Democratic convention. Weijia Zhang has more from the White House.
Hello, New Hampshire Democrats!
One after another, presidential hopefuls attacked the man whose job they want.
But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, if Donald Trump is reelected, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation.
New Jersey Senator Cory Booker said that strategy is not good enough.
Beating Donald Trump is the floor, it is not the ceiling.
The Democratic candidates are wooing voters in New Hampshire, home of the first primary election following the Iowa caucuses. Recent national polls show former Vice President Joe Biden and Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders in the top tier, vying to be the frontrunner. Senator Kamala Harris defended her trailing position.
And I wouldn't have won my first office if I listened to those polls. So the issue of polls, for me, depending on the poll, the sample size, the day of the week, I'm not riding polls.
Several candidates brought up passing tougher gun laws, blaming President Trump for failing to do it.
And it is on Donald Trump that talks a good talk the minute after a tragedy, and then the moment he gets any pushback, he folds.
The president is in campaign mode, too, with a rally scheduled for Monday in North Carolina. He's putting the economy front and center, warning a Democratic win could be costly.
Everything's going to be down the tubes. So whether you love me or hate me, you got to vote for me.
President Trump has less competition in his own party. Republican leaders in South Carolina and Kansas have canceled their primary contests, and other states, including Nevada and Arizona, could follow suit. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
Meanwhile, tonight, the president said he canceled a secret Camp David meeting with Taliban leaders who were planning to travel to the U.S. for peace talks this weekend. The annual Quilting Enthusiasts Meetup in Madison is celebrating a 15th year and a new name. The Great Wisconsin Quilt Show, formerly known as the Quilt Expo, changed its name to let the community know about its Wisconsin roots. More than 200 vendors were selling everything from sewing machines to fabric, but organizers say one of the best parts of the show is the community service to both local organizations and abroad. In an effort to inform people on natural resources within and around the Yahara River, the village of DeForest is hosting its annual Yahara River Fest. Festival organizers say the River Fest is held to connect the community with its natural communities, like the trail systems near the Yahara River. At the fest, people were able to interact with animals or enjoy arts and crafts like painting pumpkins.
Seeing the community come out in droves and smiles on their face. It's sort of one of the first little fall fests of the season, so it's just a great way to kick off fall.
The festival was free to attend, but donations were collected to support the river's resources. Somebody who always pays attention to the nature around them, Dave Caulfield. That's your job.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened actually tonight after the 6 o'clock show. I went outside to the parking lot and my jaw dropped because I looked up to the sky and I saw what a lot of folks saw tonight. The gravity waves coming through Madison and Dane County in general. Mount Horeb. Dean sends in this photo. Kind of looks like a hand kind of moving through the sky there. You can see almost the 5 fingers. There, that is awesome. And then also our very own Mark Schilling took this photo in Mount Horeb of those waves in the sky there. So they're called gravity waves. And so what exactly are we talking about here? It's kind of a difficult concept to explain, but I'll give it my best shot. So basically this stuff like this occurs when there's differences in air stability. So when stable air, which usually wants to sink, is forced to rise, that can also be triggered by some thunderstorm updrafts, and we did have some showers nearby as that low pressure system moves in from the west. Think about it like it's a rock dropped in a pond, that sort of scenario where once that happens, the water ripples out. It's sort of the same concept, and the farther you get away from that wave, the less and less that ripple effect is seen. So really, really cool. Thank you so much for sending in those photos. Doppler track showing those thunderstorms well off to the south and west. Some very light rain moving to the southwest of Madison right now. So maybe some light showers closer to Grant County, but the rest of us are dry. I expect most of us to remain that way into tomorrow before the afternoon comes around, and some light showers are possible. Madison on the Edgewater Skycam. Looking at cloudy skies right now, today's high of 73, just a little bit below the average of 75 for this time of year. For the Ironman tomorrow, lots of clouds, seasonably cool, so actually not bad running and triathlon weather for most of this. We are looking at the possibility of a couple of light showers by the time we get to the afternoon hours. And temperatures will remain below normal over the next couple of days, well below normal for tomorrow, but in the low 70s Monday. But hello summer coming in at the last moment here and getting temperatures into the lower to middle 80s. That humidity comes up as well, and that means chances for thunderstorms for much of next week. Mostly cloudy, a little milder. For tonight, temperatures in the mid 50s. As we head into tomorrow, we'll be in the upper 60s at best. Those clouds really do keep us cool. And again, a couple of showers can't be ruled out, so have that umbrella ready to go at times. On Sunday, starting off in the mid 50s, and we could see those clouds really not moving all that much. Our latest model of Future Track not really bringing much in the way of rain, and that would make sense. This is a pretty weak short wave that is moving through. We could have a few showers and thunderstorms later on Monday as well. As far as rain totals go, really not looking at anything major. This is not a washout by any means. However, as we get into next week, especially the middle of next week, when we have that humidity in place, we could be looking at some periods of heavy rain across portions of southern Wisconsin. We'll keep you updated on that possibility. Showers and thunderstorms possible for basically every day in the 10-day forecast except for Saturday and Tuesday. So the unsettled weather, we've been saying it settles in to southern Wisconsin.
Sticking around.
It is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Thank you, Dave. Still to come on News 3 Now at 10, post-game wrap-up after another dominating performance from the Badgers. That's next in sports.
News.
Well, some breaking news to start with tonight. Badger safety Scott Nelson announcing within the hour on social media that he will be out for the rest of the season. He did not play today because of a left leg injury. Eric Burrell starting in his place against Central Florida. Meanwhile, the Badgers trying to win, Central Michigan win home game number 24 in a row against the Chippewas. Central Michigan, not Florida, obviously. Build Me Up Buttercup jump around. It's all back at Camp Randall, the fourth oldest stadium in the FBS, by the way. Scoreless in the first. Jonathan Taylor getting the handoff, appropriately enough, scoring the first touchdown at Camp Randall of the 2019 season. Fast forward to the second quarter, JT sharing the points this time. Nakia Watson, that one reviewed and ruled a touchdown, second one of the season for Watson, 30 Badgers. Clock winding down in the third quarter. Jack Cohn showing off the arm. 46-yard play to Quintez Cephas. Second touchdown of the game for Cephas. First scores for him since 2017 at Indiana, where he also broke his leg. Third quarter here now, in the moment that many Badger fans have been waiting for. Graham Mertz making his quarterback debut for Wisconsin. You may have heard of him. The Badgers obliterating Central Michigan 61-0. Jay Wilson wraps up the almost perfect performance from Camp Randall.
It was total domination by the Badgers at Camp Randall Stadium in the 61-0 win over Central Michigan. Wisconsin outgained Central Michigan 599 to 58 in total yards. Wisconsin had 37 first downs to only 3 for Central Michigan. And the Badgers pitched another shutout. They've outscored their opponents 110-0 in their first 2 games.
These are limited moments, and you want them to maximize them. You know, every week there's a challenge, right? Every week there's an opportunity, and you just want guys to be in that moment to maximize it, and I think for the most part they're doing that.
We more so wanted to show the whole nation that, you know, when you come to Camp Randall, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a physical game. You're going to get physically worn down. You're going to get beaten, and it's going to be really, really, really hard for you to move the ball.
One of the big stories of the day, wide receiver Quintez Cephas. In his first game back at Camp Randall, 6 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cephas said he wasn't sure if this day would ever come.
It was amazing. Just getting back to playing in Camp Randall was a special moment. I was very happy with the success that we had as a team today. I've worked hard to get back here, and just very thankful the plans that God has had for me.
Even though Central Michigan lost 61-0, they still come out a winner, kind of. They got a $1 million guarantee for playing this game at Camp Randall. And for the Badgers, 2 weeks, 2 shutouts, 2 convincing wins. At Camp Randall Stadium, Jay Wilson, News 3 Now Sports.
Thank you, Jay. Now, a lot of credit to defensive coordinator Jim Leonard and the Badgers defense posting its second straight shutout for the first time since 2013. As for Jonathan Taylor, he now has 24 games with 100 or more rushing yards. That ties him with Anthony Davis, 2 games behind Monte Ball in Badgers history. Elsewhere, what a game for Army and 7th-ranked Michigan. We pick it up at the end of regulation here. Cole Talley for the win. Nope, actually not for the win. He missed it by inches, so we are heading to overtime. Army getting the ball first. Calvin Hopkins Jr. on the keeper. 6-yard score, 21-14 Army. Wolverines ball now. Jim Harbaugh going to Zach Charbonnet. He's in the end zone, tied at 21, so double overtime now. Michigan settling for a field goal. Black Knights on 3rd and 11. Strip sack. Wolverines recovering the fumble. Michigan survives. They will be at Camp Randall in 2 weeks. Syracuse visiting Maryland. Terrapins scored 79 points last week, on pace to do it again this week from the start. Josh Jackson to Tyler Mabry. 7 yards there for the touchdown. Jackson throwing for 3 touchdowns today, 7-0 Maryland. Later, Anthony McFarland Jr. up the middle for the 20-yard touchdown. 2 scores for him against the Orange, 28-7 Maryland. Terrapins running the scoreboard up again, 63-20 the final. Well, the drama that would never end actually has kind of come to an end. Antonio Brown will be a New England Patriot. If you've been keeping track, the wide receiver asked to be released in an Instagram post earlier today. Oakland fined him more than $215,000 for conduct that was detrimental to the team. While his wish was granted, Brown was released earlier today. Then a few hours later, came to an agreement with the Patriots. It's a 1-year deal worth up to $15 million. That includes a $9 million signing bonus. Coincidentally, the Patriots and Steelers, which is Brown's former team, play each other tomorrow, but Brown will not yet be eligible to play. We'll be right back.
Before we go tonight, we want to announce a new addition to our News 3 Now family. Congratulations are in order for our chief political reporter and assistant news director, Jessica Arp. She, her husband, and daughter Hadley welcomed Harrison Gabe at 3:02 this morning. He's 8 pounds and 2 ounces. We are told Big Sister said she's been waiting her whole life for this. Jess and baby are doing well. Congrats.
I love